it got to the point, and I think everything, you know, the legs, the heart, the sleep apnea, it all just piled on me. And I'll be honest, Paul, it's hard to say, but I was just waiting to die.
So from the time that you said you were on a hell of a lot of meds, you're down to very few now, I take it?
Zero.
What?
Zero meds.
Shut the front door. That's amazing.
Absolutely no meds at all. Nothing, none whatsoever. No breathing aids.
So I've got with me today Mark Henderson, aka Vegan Mooncat on YouTube. You're one of our very kind channel supporters, and we really appreciate your kind support that you've been doing for us. Now we met in the flesh at a vegan festival last weekend. You told me of an amazing health transformation. So I'd really like to just bring that to people's attention. How long is it that you've been vegan now?
Well, I've only been a vegan around 3 years. Before that I was eating the standard diet that pretty much everyone eats. Probably for me though, the same diet, just in higher quantities. So the same foods that everyone eats, just probably a lot more than your average person. But other than, about 3 years.
Eating those types of foods, what types of effects did that have on your health and your mental well-being?
Well, I got up to, I would say at the maximum weight I got to is around 34 stone. I only say, when people ask me what my starting weight was, I normally say around 32, just because I always start from when I started on the vegan, whole foods, plant-based diet, really, to give an accurate reflection of the weight and everything else that I've actually lost. But yeah, about 34 stone. I've been up and down my whole life with my weight. You know, sometimes I'd be 20 something stone, sometimes I'd be 30 stone, sometimes I even got down to 15, 16 stone before. But the way I had to do that was, it was not healthy. You're eating very minimal amounts of food. You're almost like starving yourself to try and get to what's your class as a normal weight. So it's been up and down my whole life, which obviously takes its toll on the body, and I got myself in quite a poor way as I started to get older. Apart from the normal effects of bad joints, and all the other things, the body can only take so much of abuse. It can only take so much of the wrong fuel. It can only take so much of what you're doing to it, and I started to get quite a lot. I don't know what the technical term is, but illnesses related to the way my lifestyle, my weight, and the things that I was obviously putting inside my body. So, do you want me to tell you a few of the things?
Yeah, if it's not too personal.
No, it's fine. No, I can tell you those. It's no worries. So I think obviously one of the main visible outward things is obesity. As I say, got to over like 34 stone, very large. You get joint muscle issues, pain. That in itself gives you quite a lot of anxiety. You don't want to go out in public. You don't want to meet people, even to the point where even if it's a family function, you don't want to go there because the chairs aren't particularly, robust, and you're frightened that you might break something, or you're just super embarrassed about the way you are, and you end up retracting within yourself. As the years go by, you get more and more isolated, and you get more and more down mentally and physically, obviously, because then you stop moving around, you stop socializing. Many issues become there. Apart from that, I also got other issues, such as I got a heart arrhythmia, so atrial fibrillation. So basically, the heart beating in the wrong rhythm, very fast beats per minute. Which can obviously, even though it's beating very fast, it's actually pumping very inefficiently. So the blood can pool around the heart. And then that can break off into clots and can obviously cause strokes, etc. So for that, the doctor never really mentioned, to be honest with you, about changing my diet or my lifestyle. Just prescribed me blood thinners and beta blockers to keep the heart at a lower level should an attack occur. And at one point, it was such a bad attack I was taken into hospital, and they tried drugs and everything else, and it wouldn't slow down. And they had to give me a cardioversion, I think it's called, whereas they shock the heart with paddles to get it into the right rhythm again, and then just carried on the drugs after that, and no mention of trying to correct it via anything other than medication came from the doctors, to be honest. I had other high blood pressure, very high blood pressure, high cholesterol, very bad breathing difficulties, and I couldn't go up the stairs without being out of breath, and taking a long time to even get out of go up the stairs. At work, unable to do your job fully. I'm IT, and a lot of it's at computers, but some of it's trying to go under desks, putting stuff out, kits out on the desks. Unable to do that. That put a lot of burden on my colleagues, obviously having to take up the slack for what I was doing. Obviously that again makes you feel bad about things and piles on the self-loathing, if you will. Sleep apnea as well. I had sleep apnea. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's basically the airwaves closing up while you sleep and stopping your breathing. So that can be very dangerous. It can even result in death, I believe, in some cases. But for me, it was a matter of waking up 70 plus times a night from the sleep. You don't know you're waking up. You just don't go into deep sleep. And therefore, the next day, you're exhausted. You've not really slept at all. You've never gone into the right sleep state. That, again, can have other knock-on effects like strokes and other things through, just lack of sleep. And because that's obviously a very important factor for everyone. Sure. There was other things as well. I think one of the latest ones I got was something called chronic venous insufficiency, I think it was called, which is basically the lower extremities, your legs. They're unable to push the blood back up to the heart, so the blood again just pools around that area. That was very concerning, because as blood pools, the same as around the heart, it clots, it causes strokes, it causes very bad discoloration of the legs and many issues, basically. Again, no mention of diet or lifestyle change, particularly from the doctor. Just more medications and other such things to try and keep these things under control. It's madness that they wouldn't recommend a lifestyle change of some description, but not even a weight loss. Never mind anything. The types of food you're putting in your body. Just not even any mentions of weight loss, really.
The worst. Can you remember roughly how many meds you might have been on?
I can't remember the top of my head. It was quite a few, to be honest. I do sometimes struggle to remember, facts and figures and names of medications and such things. But there was quite a few. There was, as I say, there was the heart ones. There was. I also developed quite a bad case of psoriasis, which was covering like 70% of my body, which was causing bleeding, cracking of the skin. I was on at one point on something called Hoover therapy for that, which was basically handfuls of pills because of my weight. You have to have, it's based on body weight. And these things, I believe, are a bit like an immune suppressant, immunity suppressant. This is what I remember from what the doctor told me. I'm sure it's right. And then you would stand in like a light chamber, which would hit you with many different waves of light to try and get the skin under control. Again, no mentions that any kind of lifestyle or dietary changes would assist with this. I think that maybe they're quite unsure about that illness anyway. And plus I had pre-diabetes. They say pre-diabetes, but I think it's a very arbitrary figure. Pre-diabetes and diabetic, I think it's pretty much the same thing. They just have to have a cut-off somewhere. So, I was having very poor mood, very issues with blood sugars and other such things as well. So there was a lot of drugs, a lot of illnesses, and not a great deal of advice other than medication.
That's crazy, isn't it? So the doctors, obviously, this wasn't coming from the doctors. Where did you hear about a whole foods, plant-based lifestyle?
Well, I think initially it got to the point, and I think everything, the legs, the heart, the sleep apnea, it all just piled on me. And I'll be honest, Paul, it's hard to say, but I was just waiting to die. I'd gone more into myself. I was distancing myself from the family. I couldn't even put my own shoes on. Having to have my young son, help me with my shoes on just to get going to work in the morning. I got myself in a very down place, and I was just researching online, for one of my illnesses, which was psoriasis. And I stumbled across a guy who, I can't remember his name now, who had improved the situation with a whole foods plant-based diet. So I thought, I'll give it a go. So I started on it. And immediately I noticed within a couple of weeks, my skin, trying to give you a percentage here, but it was at least 50% better, I would say. No creams ever helped. The PUVA therapy helps, but then after a few months it comes back again. So, it never really helps with that. Sorry, can I backtrack slightly?
Yes.
When I had tried dieting before going on a whole foods plant-based diet, and I had lost some weight, but with absolutely zero change to my illnesses.
Okay.
So as I say, I was about 34. I'd lost a couple of stone, but I was eating just reduced amounts of the same food. So the same food that I'd always eaten, just in lesser amounts, really. And that was through one of the largest slimming clubs.
Any names?
I won't mention any names.
Was that a lot of sort of animal products that you were eating?
Well, this will probably give away which slimming club it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not having a go at the people. The people who are there are lovely, they're nice people, but they're just ill-informed. Yeah. So you could eat as much chicken, fish, even bacon, as we know is a carcinogen, and all these other things, as much as you like, as long as you visibly remove the fat that you can see. Other than that, you can eat as many of those as you want. Eggs, wow. All free food. Fill up on it, basically, was the principle, really, which is not the way forward.
No,
it isn't. So I was trying that. It wasn't working to help with any of my illnesses. I then watched the man I mentioned earlier on the whole foods plant-based diet. Within a couple of weeks, the skin had massively changed, and since then I've stuck on that for the last 3 years now. A lot of it has been through help, because I'm very ignorant of the types of food I should be eating. When I first started, everyone gets told the same thing, milk, cheese, meat, all those different things. So it was with watching people such as yourself, talking about whole foods, plant-based diets, and et cetera, and I think also what helped with my weight loss is watching you saying to remove the fats from the diet, the processed fats and things like that. So that really assisted in weight loss. And generally, I keep going, can't stop myself.
You're doing brilliant. You're much better at being interviewed than I am, to be honest, so don't worry. So did you pretty much switch all your food straight off the bat, or was there a transitionary period?
No, I think that's with me. I am all or nothing kind of person sometimes. It was either carry on the way I was doing, just in try and moderate, which has never worked for me. Because I'll be honest, I am, I don't want to say greedy, but it is. Yeah. I like eating food, and the trouble is, even on a reduced amount of food, if say I have a salad, like a normal person who's trying to lose weight, it's normally a bit of lettuce, a chicken breast, and it's quite a few hundred calories, for a couple of chicken breasts and some salad, it's and it's not very filling and not very satisfying. So switching to a plant-based diet where everything's calorically a lot less.
Yes.
You can have giant salads, like bowls full of salad this big with many different fruits and vegetables in there. So, for a person who's used to eating a great deal of food and is super morbidly obese, to eat still a reasonable volume of food and feel satiated, but eating the right food, you still lose weight, and you still can improve your health situation. Which I've never done that before. I say over the years, I've always come back to dieting and trying to lose weight, and it's always just been reducing the cheese, reducing the eggs, never getting rid of it, and always reducing the animal, the meat, and it never works. It never worked for me, never at all. I could never sustain any kind of weight loss.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I truly believe that whole plant foods are species specific, best preferred fuel sources, and, in nature, we evolved in the tropics. We can get the lovely tropical fruits. We can dig up tubers year round. Since we, discovered fire, we could cook starches, legumes. Animals, they don't want us to eat them. They tend to get away, particularly with ancient hunting methods. There's no bags of shelled nuts. There's no jars of, tahini, peanut butter. There's certainly no bottles of oil. And I think all animals, I think that we do just fill ourselves up. I think that's what we're meant to do. I don't think you're alone in that. But like you say, when we fill ourselves up with the right fuel, we can eat as much as we want and still lose weight. It's win-win, isn't it? Did you find that you missed anything from the old diet?
No, I don't think so, because I felt so much better so quickly that it's hard to miss them, because, you know, and as I say, I was still full, you know, still eating a good amount of food. You know, everything started to correct. I've been back to the doctors since, you know, the heart specialists. They've completely given me the clear. They've taken me off all heart medications. You know, I no longer have sleep apnea. I don't have to have a breathing machine to breathe at night, you know, which with sleep apnea, you need it on there to keep your airways open. So that's gone. Even the venous insufficiency in the legs, which the doctor said would probably just be progressive and never get better, he said to me, it's gone. It's completely and utterly reversed. It doesn't exist anymore, you know. And I had, you know, he said, oh no, that'll just get worse and worse and worse, and you know, no, it's gone. He was very shocked when I went back and it wasn't there anymore.
Fantastic, Mark. So I guess you've really. So from the time that you said you were on a hell of a lot of meds, you're down to very few now, I take it?
0.
What?
0 meds.
Shut the front door. That's amazing.
Absolutely no meds at all. Nothing, none whatsoever. No breathing aids. Nothing. It's all completely reversed. I mean, I did have. I never can get the word right. Atherosclerosis. I did.
Under pressure as well.
Hey, I did have some build up of that in the arteries, etc. You know, like I think most people do. And my latest scan of my heart before they discharged me, it had diminished. You know, it had started to lessen. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think, you know, keep going with this lifestyle. Hopefully I won't have any at all.
Yeah, no, that's the aim, isn't it? Very good. So how much weight have you lost now?
Well, as I say, at my very beginning weight, I was 34 stone. I go from when I was 32, and I've now still heavy. I've still got some ways to go. I'm about 20 stone now, but it is a great deal less than I was. Yeah. And I think the most important thing, even though I've lost the weight, is just how good I feel. I've still got weight to lose, but it's all the other factors. It's the breathing, it's the legs, it's the heart, it's everything. You know, being able to get a good night's sleep, wake up invigorated, no stimulants, no coffee, none of it required. You know, I just feel very well. So even though I've got more to go and more weight to lose, you know, I feel so much more alive than I have done since I can remember, to be honest.
And bloody hell, so basically 14 stone total you've lost, and then 12 stone since the vegan thing. That's huge. That is truly, truly amazing.
Now, I know a lot of people would say, well, you can do that eating animal products, or you can do that on a diet, you know, but yeah, maybe a calorie restricted diet, but that wouldn't have necessarily cured any of the other things.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah. And the other thing is, most people yo-yo. Like we once we get hungry at a certain point, our ghrelin ramps up. We get insatiable, and this is why people lose weight and put it back on. Like you said, you were doing, you know, previously as well. So
yeah, this is very sustainable. It's very very. As I say, you feel good. You can eat the right foods. It's just about changing your ways. We're programmed to think that a meal isn't a meal without an animal on the plate. You know, and don't get me wrong. When I was eating the food, I wasn't thinking about my protein. I wasn't thinking about calcium. I was just thinking about a taste sensation, which I liked, which made me feel better. But not really. Which I thought it made me feel better, but it just made me worse.
Yeah. Oh, very good. No, I know you've got a young family. You had little Bella, is it? Your little girl?
Yeah, I've got my daughter Bella. She's 10. I have my son.
I'm going to throw up a little video right now of when I met her. She must be my biggest fan. And you've got a couple of lads as well, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I've got another daughter. She's 19, and I have 2 sons. One is nearly 13, and the other is 15. So, you know, you've got to be around. That was the other thing. I think the thing is, you get yourself so down, you think everyone around you would be better off without you. So you sat there and you're thinking, I can't do it. It's too difficult. I can't. I've got this addiction to food. I can't get it under control. It's better if I just go and leave them to it. This is where you get yourself. This is the place you're at, and it's not. You don't need to feel that way. It's insane. I don't know how I ever got in that place. But whole food vegan diet has really sort of turned my entire life around, and my family's. We're all vegan now, not just me.
Wow.
Yeah. The kids, they're all vegan. My wife's vegan. We're all happy. We're all healthy. And as I say, I think a lot of the time as well, even though I think for me, and it's probably the same for other humans as well, is when you get yourself down to a low point, you don't care enough about yourself to sort of make a sustained sort of change to your health, and you think that your family are better off without you. So it's hard to get away from that. But I think since going vegan, and obviously doing it for a health reason, then you look at the animals and you go into the aspect of looking at their misery and their torture and their pain. So, and even if I think my family, if I ever got depressed and thought my family would be better off without me, which I don't anymore, or I'm too low, then I've got those guys to think about, all the animals, they're there, and even if I don't care enough about myself, then you can care about them. They need you to care. So, I think everything combined, has really made a difference.
Mark, you're going to have to stop. You're making me tear up. Let's move on. That's amazing, brother. That's so cool. So what types of foods do you emphasize, and what are some of your favorite dishes at the minute?
Well, I think, again, this, you may have some part in this. I started watching you pretty much from the day I went vegan, to be honest. I've been a bit silent. I don't really message on posts or anything like that. It's, as I say, with the way I was. But you've made a positive difference. And, I've gone for pretty much the things that you've always said, like whole foods, minimal to no oils, no processed foods. So, like, for instance, but it doesn't mean that I had to just eat a piece of lettuce with a bean on top. It's not the kind of food I eat. I love spices. I love sort of like that kind of food. So it's pretty much the same food I used to have. I just changed the ingredients a bit. So if I wanted I like spicy Ethiopian lentil stew, for instance. So that's got lentils, and I also throw in other things that aren't normally there, which is like chickpeas and black beans and stuff, and many healthy things, and potatoes, and it's a large, nice, filling, satisfying meal, and it's just those things. In the mornings, I can eat anything. I must admit, I suppose, like many vegans, I do gravitate towards oats a lot, like porridge, because you can cram a lot of good things in there, like your chia seeds and your flax seeds, for all your omega-3s, etc. A lot of berries. I love berries. Again, that's probably your fault. So a lot. A lot of berries, a snack on fruit rather than crisps. It's very similar sort of meals. Sweet potato curries. I love the recipes in your cookbook, like the black bean lasagna. That sort of food. That's amazing. So we've eaten that a lot recently.
Lovely.
So it's generally. And I think the other things as well, you can't wait for the processed foods, so the pre-prepared foods to get healthy, to look after yourself. You need to get into cooking. You need to start taking responsibility and preparing your own food, making sure you know what's in it, and just. Cooking's fun, you just convenience foods, even the ones that purport to sort of be healthy, not really. So, cooking and just getting, find a few people that you like the recipes from, steal them.
Yeah.
make them a lot, it's good.
Yeah, very nice. So I imagine at your biggest, you couldn't have been exercising.
No, literally no exercise. To be honest, I mean, a lot of people I've spoken to since losing the weight, they're saying, well, you probably just reduced your food and exercise more. I didn't exercise for the first 9 or 10 stone of my weight loss.
Wow.
I mean, exercise is very important, and I do exercise 4 or 5 times a week now at the gym. Try to go out a lot more. You didn't used to be able to go for walks with the children or anything else, which I do now. All those sorts of things. But yeah, I reversed most of my conditions and lost most of my weight without needing to that. It was just the change of diet that made the difference. But obviously, exercise for long-term health and getting yourself active, it is extremely important, but not necessarily required for losing significant weight, especially when you initially, I believe.
You better get
a few pounds off.
Yeah, and then I would say for people, if you're terribly overweight, you're not going to be able to exercise, and that's okay. Like you say, you can lose weight with the nutrition, and then just slowly we just add in a little walking, just as and when we can, 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's definitely how I started.
Yeah, and so you just upped that over time, did you, kind of thing?
Yeah, over a period of time, just smaller and small walks, generally increasing them, just getting up from the desk, walking around the office more. Again, it's fighting through the mental barriers as well of not wanting to be seen walking in public, or so you fight through that. But more and more the weight came off, more and more your health improves, more your mental state improves. Then you can do more things. You start communicating with more people, and and it's nice. And then you start to embrace the other humans in the world instead of shying away from them. And you can talk to them more. And you generally, it's like snowball effect. And before you know it, you feel a great deal better, and you're back in society.
Fantastic. You're so inspiring, Mark. I'm so glad you agreed to this interview. This feels like a bit of a daft question after everything you've told me now, but what has been the response from your family and friends at your health transformation?
Well, that's a strange one. Initially, I think some family members were worried. I mean, which is very strange considering they're never worried about the buckets of KFC.
Yeah.
Or the cheese sandwiches or any of the other food. It was hardly ever mentioned, my health. I mean, I'm practically dead, and no one's mentioning anything, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, not through any bad reasons. They don't want to hurt your. As soon as you're eating like chickpeas and hummus and refried beans and whole grain rice, and so if it's like, well, you're going to make yourself sick. It's like, I am sick. This is making me better. So I think that the people obviously came round, they realized as they see you getting healthier and they see the positive changes and the results, not only in your health, your physical health, but your mental health, and that they come on board and they do then realize that you're doing a good thing. So we're all programmed for a certain way of thinking. We're all programmed to think you need certain products to be healthy and that it can't be done without it, when it's exactly the opposite is true in my experience, to be honest. Yeah. I had some opposition from some people that I know at work. Again, I think that was, they're glad to see you getting well, but they don't like it, the fact that you're getting well by doing something that they don't want to do. I don't know if that's the right way of wording it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think when we're vegan, we don't even have to say anything, but just I think they sort of see in you, like, well, I guess they see that you're not harming animals, and it reminds them that they are harming animals, and then, I guess they're questioning, no, but we need to eat them, and it just throws up a lot of questions, and people feel uncomfortable because we're all the hero of our own story, and none of us would harm an animal unnecessarily. Except Mark's looking particularly well lately.
I mean, that's it. They're all good people for the most part. They're not bad people. They're just, we've all been told a certain thing, and when that gets challenged, when you see somebody, I mean, I've had people say you lost a week, you lost a month, before you go back, and 3 years later, I think they've realised I'm never going back. It's not happening. I'm not going back for my own benefit. I'm not going back for the animals' benefit. It's the planet's benefit, my family's benefit, everyone's benefits from the changes I've made. So, there's no reason to go back. And plus, people think that I'm suffering in some way with the food I eat. I can't be happier. I ate like the same 4 animals over and over again, and now I eat hundreds of plant meals, which are varying in flavor and taste, and so much more enjoyable. It's especially once you've eradicated the other food from your diet. Suddenly, this stuff springs to life with its flavors and its tastes. Flavors and tastes are the same thing, obviously. So once you eradicate all that and you're on the right path with the right food, it's extremely enjoyable life for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. So you said your whole family's gone vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Have you inspired anyone else to go vegan? Perhaps any of your former retractors?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lovely lady who used to work at the gym that I used to go to, and she was vegetarian, didn't eat meat, etc. And after speaking to her and seeing the positive results that I'd had, she gave up the dairy as well. So that was good. I say I've got the family that have gone, but it is quite a hard sell for some reason. It's just hard to break down the barriers, and even when people, I think it's even harder with people that are close to you, people that know you. It seems much harder to convince them that this is a positive thing. People that I've met, I've spoke to people on the internet that, via my Instagram, etc. And they say that they have definitely been inspired to go down the vegan road because of the positive change that they've seen me in, because they, either themselves or people that they love have got the similar sort of illnesses that I had or are quite overweight. So yeah, there's been quite a few people that have changed their ways because of me, to a healthier way. So that's really good. I mean, that is one of the reasons why I think. Obviously, I agree to do things, and come on speak to you, even though it's also because I think you're awesome. But and it's why I started the Instagram as well. I mean, I haven't done YouTube because of anxiety. I find it difficult to. It's still images is one thing. A moving picture with me having to move my mouth up and down is quite another thing. But I started that to reach out because I thought it's been so helpful to me and my family. If there's anyone out there, who's sitting in a room, and they're 30-something stone or whatever weight they may be, and they've got, or maybe they're a normal weight, but they've got illnesses, such as I had, and they think there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and that they're getting no help from the doctor who's just giving them medication after medication. Maybe if they saw what I was doing and what I'd done, I could maybe help them out of the dark place that they're in, in a small way, and hopefully inspire a positive change for them. So that's why, and it gives me pleasure to think that, if even one person in the entire world sees what I'm doing via social media and improves their situation, then it's worth me taking a few pictures and telling a story on there.
Mark, we better share your Instagram handle then, if that's all right.
Oh, all right then. Okay, it's the Vegan Mooncat. The
Vegan Mooncat. Very good.
Yeah, it's just all the food I eat generally and things like that, so.
Yeah, very good. And so other than your awesome Instagram, what other resources might you recommend for anyone wanting to follow in your footsteps?
Well, there's obviously Hench _Herbivore. Awesome channel. I also, anyone wanting and I think you've said it yourself as well, the actual facts on nutrition, etc. Nutritionfacts.org has been a great resource for me. Just to get the truth. It's hard to sometimes get to that. There's so many different things. I suppose there's those things. I know. Just get some good vegan cookbooks. Start cooking. Yeah. I believe yours is half price at the moment.
It is half price. Link in the description. Give it a jam,
So it's. But yeah, I'd say don't be afraid to give it a go. I mean, and give it a chance as well. Don't give it a week. Don't give it a 2 weeks. Because as I say, even though I saw no changes after a couple of weeks, give it some time. And I'm sure everyone who would really see positive changes from it.
Sure. Mark, you've done a fantastic job. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up, or do you feel like we've covered it all?
Yeah, I think that's sort of everything. As I say, off all medication, feeling loads better. You know, never been better. Not for many, many, many years. And maybe I feel better now than I even did when I was a lot younger, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's everything, Paul. I think you've covered most things there.
Fantastic, Mark. You are a huge, huge inspiration. I think this is about the best success story I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of people.
Wow, thank you.
With whole plant foods, and you're going to inspire loads, and you're going to save a lot of lives, both animal and human. So I thank you very, very much for being brave and just going for it today. I really, really appreciate you, brother.
Thank you very much, Paul. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Have an awesome day, my friend.
Thanks, Paul. Bye.
So much, Mark.